This is another Write Once, Read Many. This time we're only doing a singular chapter, 14.9, but as you may have noticed, there's a little difference to the art today. I'll wait for people to filter in. Hey, Vale. So, part of the reason that I'm only doing one chapter and that I have a super cut down, minimal kind of, non-script for myself, is because, Vic was very busy and, unfortunately, work has caught up with us, and she's just completely unable to do the art this week due to, like, outside time pressures. And also she got new dogs, so it's like double whammy. But, you know, all that aside, I have created the art for this week, and it's this. I spent all morning doing it. I feel like I had the first part done really early, and then I took like 2 hours on like little stuff, and I did not realize how much time was passing. And yeah, the guest artist is canceled. Val says RL work comes first. Also, you can steal the dogs / live stream playing with them. That would be the best content. Well, I mean, I don't know. Work shouldn't have to come first. Vale, work should not have to come first. We should be able to do our own thing. I'm anti-work and anti-capitalist. Val says you can use the "hey, look over there" trick to steal the dogs. Yeah, I mean, if I'm fast enough. I'm worried that Vic is going to be more savvy than me, and I'll say, "hey, look over there," and she'll say, "hey, look over there," and I'll look, and then boom, she'll have stolen her own dogs back already. Also, the dogs are small enough to tuck under my coat. I saw a picture of them where each of the dogs was being held out in one hand. Beth says, Vic isn't savvy, she is pro-work. I don't know about that, Beth. But anyway, so to state the audience participation question for this week, 14.9, it's, how do you think Coyle was applying his power during the phone call? And, because I thought about it, and I was like, there's a lot of possibilities here, and I didn't, it's a thinker, I think. Anyway, so I'll talk about that when we get to it, so I don't just expend all my answers now. Vale's saying, I only use the finest logic. Sure. Only the finest logic for Vale. The themes this week were dramatic irony and paranoia. Vale says, on a serious note, can we request puppy pics? I really want to see them if it's okay. I mean, it's probably okay, but I will deal with that later. You know what you should do is send a message to me, and then that way after the stream, I will remember to deal with having Vic post a picture of the dogs. So, boom. There's a good chance I will forget if not. But I guess I'll kind of just get into it. 14.9, and this is me. I'm trying to like super wing it on like actual like very sparse notes rather than what I normally do, which is write out most of what I'm going to say. Also, wow, I left my Discord notifications on so that I can annoy all stream listeners. Let's change that. Boom. So, the whole thing is still covered in the ominous red miasma, and the streets are still pooled up with their bloodiness. All the pooled water from Post Leviathan is somewhere from bright red to dark blood red, depending on how shallow or not shallow it is. Skitter continues to have a conversation with Tattletale. Tattletale, that is like kind of, it's mostly a monologue from like, oh, da 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 da, and like bringing back, I mean, only like leading questions like, okay, if I say I was born in Mexico, could you tell me where I was born? And then just keeping her in the conversation, but only to like spit back canned answers. She's really leading things on. We learn about the short-term memory of Skitter and the others being available, so as long as she can keep things in her mind in the short term, like by repeating it to herself or whatever, she's able to maintain her current goal. For instance, right now she knows that she needs to find Amy to reverse the whole bioweapon thing. Vale says, my second message to you on Discord was also a notification. Oh, notification sounds is on. Yeah, but that is kind of funny. That's how you alerted me to it with a second message that set off a second one. Anyway, so Skitter don't remember nothing like the teammates' powers or anything, so she can't be like, that's fishy, when they say something that doesn't match with what, they're supposed to say. She's getting super paranoid, she's freaking out, and she's correctly identifying that something is wrong. With her bugs, Skitter can sense that Battery has arrived, but Battery gets captured by Skitter and silk cords and stuff, and then Battery plays dead, and then Tattletale says that Battery is definitely one of the Slaughterhouse 9, and then there's like a confrontation where Gru tries to make Skitter kill Battery. Tattletale is also perfectly ready to kill. They want to kill so bad. They love killing, actually. And Gru demands the gun, putting out a bunch of like guilt pressure, like, oh, but I mean, you're gonna do this to me, your boyfriend who got tortured by the enemy? I can't believe that you would do this. I can't believe it. And yeah, as Greg says, kill her. Kill her now. It's very Palpatine, which I did see was said in the voice chat, or I mean in the chat that went with the chapter listen. Greg had pointed out the Palpatine nature of it, and it's so true. It's very Star Wars 3. It's great. I love it. I mean, the thing is, Jack can say, like, oh, delayed gratification, all he wants, but, like, he loses his patience so, like, immediately, and he's just like, I need to make people do the bad thing right away. So, I mean, I don't know. He could have slow cooked this a little bit. He's just kind of an idiot. So we've got accusations of Skitter being a traitor. He keeps saying traitor over and over again. You've betrayed me, you traitor. And then Skitter's like, I'm just not going to do this. Maybe we shouldn't kill people right away. And then Gru's like, fine. And then they move on. And Tattletale's like, we're really not gonna kill this lady? And Gru's like, yeah, let's just move on. You can keep track of her with your power. So Tattletale is keeping track of Battery, and so is Skitter. But Skitter's paranoid. She knows that she just can't trust these guys. Her teammates might be losing their minds because of the miasma. They've been in it for longer. She's got to be careful, though, because she doesn't want to tip over the edge and just randomly attack her allies, like some sort of legend. So Skitter pretends Battery is out of range to see what happens. Gru has Skitter call Coil as Battery escapes the binds, thinking that she's no longer being watched. She snaps the silk cords with her super strength. And then Skitter is connecting the dots that Tattletale cannot tell that Battery is up. So something's going horribly awry, as things tend to do. And then she's using swarm clones to distract Battery as the call's starting to go through to Coil. One of the questions I had is, how do they identify which number is Coil's number in the phone when they're all encoded and she doesn't remember what code to call? That was one of my questions. Maybe Bonesaw uses hacking and call history to figure. I don't know. It's just something we have to hand wave away a little bit. They call Coil successfully, and then they're starting their conversation with him. And we are reminded that Tattletale hates swearing. She gives Skitter a look. Famous Tattletale character trait. So Tattletale and Gru are staying oddly silent during this phone call. Skitter isn't able to do the password system for Coil, and Coil is like, I'm terribly sorry, but due to shapeshifters and, people who can do a voice thing, just like one of the founding members of the Slaughterhouse 9, the very team you're fighting, we just can't give you any information. And then she's like, all right, I get it, but could we do a phone call if you're on the phone call? And he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then Cherish is like, acting kind of odd. Again, Skitter knows something is wrong, but doesn't know what's wrong. But Cherish clearly knows what's up. And Coil tells Cherish they're looking for Panacea. So Cherish, instead of being like, pay me $1 billion and I'll tell you, like she was before, she says that Panacea is at the top floor of Arcadia High. Why would she give a freebie and say that she no longer wants to work against the 9? I wonder if there's more going on here. So, Cherish passes on a bunch of information about her location and the prophecy that the world will end if Jack escapes the city, but she does the last part using a gambit where she's talking in Latin. But Skitter, she knows what happened with the Latin gambit, so it didn't even really work that well. But, it worked on Coil, because Coil's kind of a dummy, and he's like, this conversation tires me. I will go do other things. And then Skitter's like, I know what I need to do, and rushes the call to a close, saying that they need to move on and get to Amy. So the moment's super tense. Skitter knows that it's about to go down, and there's no way to get help because the unknown hero, Battery, is on the other side, and they'd have to circle back. And then Bonesaw's mechanical spiders start attacking Battery, and Skitter's still, hiding her emotions, contemplating until Jack says her name. And then without hesitation, Skitter drags Bonesaw into a human shield position. And Jack starts slashing at her. Almost like that's his thing. And then Skitter's, she gets her chin and cheek and stuff cut, but for her, she's barely phased, essentially. Her costume blocks most of the hits, and Bonesaw gets cut up a bunch, but she's super tough. Jack's hitting Bonesaw way more than he's hitting Skitter at this point, And then, so Skitter throws Bonesaw at Jack to throw him off his stride, and this pretty much works. But he doesn't get his backswing attack that he was going for, and is sort of stopped. But not knowing what will work, she uses her bugs like she normally does, and tries to use the capsaicin bugs and swarm them, the spicy bugs, I mean. But then Bonesaw, fucking Jack spins her around, and her dumbass has already pulled out her anti-bug smoke, so she's anti-bug smoking the area. And then Jack says in a very I'm a villain. In a Skeletor voice, he says, "You've outlived your usefulness, Skitter." And then Jack tries to be I would have picked you for the nomination, but Cherish is dumb. It's not me. I'm not dumb. And then Skitter tries to, use her gun, but Jack knifes it out of her hands before she can fire at him. And he's like, so I end the world. Interesting. And then Skitter tries to play it off like the prophecy is really wishy-washy instead of a pretty good parahuman power. And then the swarm attacks, Bonesaw and Jack, but at this point, both of them are holding anti-bug smoke stuff, and it's killing off all our bugs. And whenever they throw down a smoke cloud that's black smoke that she can't see through, and then Skitter tries to go around that for a second, and then Jack stabs at her face, but doesn't get her too bad. And then there's a horde of spiders, and Skitter's running away. It's a chase scene. She's thinking about how it's dangerous to be on land or in the air, but she decides to take to Atlas, and sometimes you gotta fly on the giant sky beetle, I wasn't thinking about winning anymore. I was thinking in terms of minimizing the damage when we lost. She's like a Metal Gear character at this point. She's all gritty inside, pretty cool and grizzled. Probably gonna have a new code name after an animal. Like Weeping Spider. That's right. I know it's really similar to Weeping Octopus, but Skitter do be that, or Silent Atlas or Silent Hercules Beetle. That would be her stupid name. I'm sure that we could make up Metal Gear names for ages. Oh, and Vale had said, "Out with Jack Slash. He is now twirling his mustachio, man. Here he is now twirling mustachio." Oh, yeah. Yep. And then Greg says, "Foolish, bringing a gun to a knife fight." Yeah, exactly. Skitter should have thought that through. What else? Final chapter thoughts. This is a good one. It's very I remember it feeling like as Greg may recall this, but I was watching Hunter x Hunter for the first time, and there's this part in the Chimera Ant arc where this guy who's not very strong is sneaking in past all of the baddest asses on the bad guy side, and it's like it seems so sure that he's gonna get found out and killed like right away that he has an existential crisis on the show, and I was slowly like edging my way toward the screen, like moving up, and I was like face to the screen practically by the time it was happening. I was doing the mental equivalent of that when I was listening to this chapter for the very first time. I was getting closer and closer to the medium, and my brain was more and more invested. And it was as though Skitter could have died at any moment because of that bastard Jack Slash. So I like this chapter. I think it's a good one. I think it's like creepy how there's a red mist for like 4 chapters. It's pretty creepy. And my art. I want to talk about my art. Yeah, I did it in layers, and I didn't think through like what I was gonna do, and like I drew the people before I layered on some of the other layers, so I had to redraw the people later. But like, I think it did not detract from it. It just took a little longer. And I mean, there's obvious like lines and stuff, and it's like very lo-fi, but I'm really happy with like the broken glass in the windows, and like the building in the middle left for some reason I really like, and there's like weird little storm grates that I drew. It was a lot of fun to make. I really liked it. And I put the X's over their faces because I wanted it to be reminiscent of what Vic had drawn for the last chapter, but I wanted it to be like Skitter's brain was or Taylor's brain was bugging out like more and more, and that she's like losing her grip. So like before you could see everything. Oh, and did you see the little knife that Jack is holding that's layered under the mist? I thought that was a nice touch. Uh yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy with how this turned out. There was a lot of like little missteps along the way, and like details that sadly I ended up covering up in some ways, like the street. It was more clear before that each dotted line was like a thinner line as it went, and there was a fourth line that was like very thin. But I didn't think about the fact that it would be covered up by a future layer. Um, and I really I think that the first iteration of Bonesaw looked better before I put on the layers, but the second iteration of Jack, especially with the like faded knife, is like way better. So yeah, yeah. And this is, I guess, when they'd be like on the call. Or maybe right after Jack gets out his knife to be like, I'm gonna go over and kill that Slaughterhouse 9 member. Battery. Um, anyway, moving on. Arc stuff. nothing special. This is just like a logical through line for where like the last chapter would go, and like it leads into the next chapter quite well because it sets up the Arcadia High conflict that's going to happen. So nothing special there. So we can sort of skip past that. Characters. I think that this is one of those like pivotal character chapters for Taylor. Jack tries to get her to kill someone, pretending to be Gru, and he just fails. Taylor is like, I don't know, that seems bad. I don't want to do that. So she's able to like go with her heart gut, and the heart gut tells her you shouldn't kill yet. You should definitely kill later when you're sure. And she's able to defeat his power of being an asshole. I think it's a pretty big moment for her, although unfortunately doesn't really help Battery in the end, since she gets got by Spideys. But what are you gonna do? Sometimes you can't beat all the mechanical spiders and jacks and bone saws when your mind is all muzzed up by a bio weapon. You just can't win them all when prions are at play. What else? So Coil. Coil is kind of dumb here. He doesn't pick up on the fact that like something's weird with Cherish. He doesn't pick up on the fact that information was passed. He just he doesn't put two or one together. Yeah, doesn't work out for him. Cherish, she plays this situation pretty masterfully, although not perfect enough, because Taylor still picks up on it. But Cherish, she is able to tell before people realize that what she's like doing and that something's wrong. Tell where she is by saying like, oh, I'm tired of all these waves and these ship labels. Oh, these shipping containers suck. The boat graveyard. Yeah. And then, she does her little Latin thing, which is what finally fully tips off Taylor. But it's pretty too late by then, And she never she never makes a mistake and asks like, "Oh, Gru, what do you think of da-da-da?" She never does some dumbass slip up like that, which you would think she would do because like she's kind of a dipshit most of the time. I guess she bats above her average this game. How about that? And then we got Bonesaw. Bonesaw is not doing like the best Tattletale impression, but she's banking on the fact that she doesn't have to. And she's like a little demon in this, like you'd expect. Typical Bonesaw stuff. She's like, you've got to kill. You have to. I love when you kill. I'll go over there and kill. Is somebody gonna kill? So, yeah. Kinda can't control herself. I think that's something about Jack and Bonesaw in this, is they have, like, so little self-control. This is the best they can manage at play acting. They're just such, like, freaks. And they just spend all their time murdering people. Anyway. Then Jack himself, he does do a pretty good job of being, like, really horrible to Taylor. Like, really trying to hurt her feelings in a like slightly targeted, but honestly non-specific way because she can't remember what the hell he's talking about. Yeah, he's just such a douche. I think he's a great villain. But also an idiot. He's not good at being smart. He's just good at being evil. Doop, 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 doop. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the characters there. Oh, Battery. I didn't bring up Battery somehow. Battery doesn't get to talk at all and is in paranoia fight mode and is actually successfully on target for the right people, but does not have the knowledge needed to not get got. So she gets got, unfortunately. For powers, knowledge, and world building, we learn a lot about what's going on, like exactly now, and like what's going to happen in the next few chapters. But I don't feel like there's that much world building. It's kind of a lot of character building. We don't really learn about any new powers, but we don't need to. We just like, play out this really dramatic scenario. And sometimes that's all you need. I guess we did learn that we need Amy to fix this, but we kind of knew that last chapter. So yeah. Yep. Well, moving on to audience participation, and I do think this is going to be the shortest episode so far. Just because of the very slapdash way I had to put things together after doing that there. Arsh. So for audience participation, we've got Vale's answer. I'm not certain that he was. It is just living multiple lives so he could ask two different questions, but he is also extremely careful about when he ends a timeline to stay safe. And I think he is in the mode of living two completely separate lives then. Vale says, it's all good. Yeah, this is a simple chapter anyway. Yep. Simple but good. And I would say, the reason I had thought about it is because, like, I was thinking about Coil's power use throughout this whole elongated scenario. And I was thinking, like, does Coil only receive the call in one timeline? Does he, at any point afterward, think it's suspicious? Is it worth his time to split things? Has he been holding it out, like, from before the Undersiders confronted the 9 and before the bombing run? Has there been a split since then? That's the kind of thing I was thinking about. And I was like, when would he, not necessarily be like, when would the ultimate times be, but when would he do it? And I think you might be right. I think he might have kept just two really different timelines. Like I can imagine he made the split before the first bombing run and he's just holding out like for a long time with like really different orders on all his people. And then like, well, because he's not in the communication with the Undersiders, so I wonder if he's basing his decisions on, like, scouts of the area. He can't really change the outcome that much because he's not in communication with any of the capes on scene. It's like a weird thing. Like, I wonder what he's attempting to do during this. You know what I mean? Maybe one of him tries to escape. Because part of what I thought is maybe when the bioweapon goes out, one of him stays in the bunker and one immediately tries to escape, but that fails, so he's still double trapped in the bunker. A lot of thoughts in my brain. Vale says, I'm almost positive the idea of his extremely split timelines covers this time. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, with that said, the next week is going to have 14.10 and 14.11. So my 14.10 question was, do you think Jack could have gotten Amy to join him if Taylor hadn't shown up? And then I hadn't thought of one for 14.11, but let me take a quick glance. Boop, boop, boop. 14.11 has... for 14.11, the question is, which shippers lost their minds hardest, but yes, which shippers lost their minds hardest during this chapter? Okay. So let's put those in the Discord now. All right, well, I'm going to end the program. So let's get that outro song playing. So thanks for being here for this extra odd episode, and thanks for looking at my crazy art. I'm really happy with it. I had a lot of fun making it. Vale says take care. See you next week, Vale. So, as we have for quite a while now, the music used in this episode is Infestation by ScarlettXOX, who we can find at twitch.tv/Scarlet_Rogue. Oh, and I can tell you, the next song is being made right now for arcs 15 and 16. So I'm really excited for that. It's got a pretty different sound to this. It doesn't just sound like a similar song to this, because I wanted to have a really different feeling to it. Greg says cheers, and cheers to you as well, Greg. Our Discord server link can be found in the stream description and the YouTube channel description. The author of the work being discussed can be supported on Patreon at patreon.com/wildbow. The full text of the work is available for free online at parahumans.wordpress.com, and there is also a fan-made audiobook of the entire work at audioworm.rain-online. And then, yeah, I'm gonna let the rest of the song play out, and talk to you guys next week.